go Twin Dam, Gowrie Main Junction. You will see the tracks going north there. So more towards Gowrie Main side. A-firm, very close to the dam. Thank you. Yay! So it seems like I've managed to recruit some help from the wonderful Herbie, who's gonna give me a hand, see if perhaps we can find any tracks around here, because I think now it's getting a bit tricky. I think they have gone into a block that is a bit of a problem, and Herbie can go on foot for a lot longer than while I can. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to either pick up more tracks, or Herbie will be able to help us out, and maybe we'll be able to see some of these beautiful lions. Now, reports from some of the other properties are that... Hello. Hello. How are you guys? Okay. Good, thanks. How many Birminghams are there with the sticks? One. Okay, cool. I'm gonna carry on looking for the second one. Yeah, I'm gonna carry on looking for the second one. Yeah. Yeah, they are there, but I think they carry on going this way. So I'm gonna go look around again. Okay, cool. Yeah, all of them. Alright, so definitely just one of the sticks males, one of the Birmingham boys with the sticks, and we have got possibly the other one, or another two. So, just want to see perhaps if maybe, because I know there were some guys, oh, I need to learn how to drive, that some of the guys were driving on the roads ahead of us. So I want to see, there's another road that cuts where we had those initial tracks onto here. So I want to maybe go check that road just out of safety. Perhaps I can start putting this piece of the puzzle together while I give Herbie enough space to maybe double check where I've been tracking, and hopefully he'll be able to follow them a bit longer into the bush. Now, fingers crossed, we will have lions by the end of the morning, or mid-morning, or in the next little while. I feel a lot better now that I've got someone else helping. Alrighty. Let's go down this road. Where are you, road? I need to find you. Terry, you're wondering what would cause a lion coalition to stop existing? Well, the death of all the members. Or if not all the members die, but pretty much most of them die, then that is very likely it would stop being a coalition, because a coalition is more than one male. Then they can be related or unrelated males, normally related males somehow. Now, some of the biggest coalitions have died because other new territorial males, or males that are looking to establish themselves in a specific area, they are younger and they manage to push the older males away. And often it's very aggressive encounters, and it can result in the death of the coalition members. Alright, I think this is just a tricky signal spot here because of this branch, but I think we'll be able to just get around it. Woohoo! Right. Let's see. This is another spot where the lions seem to come out quite often. And there are lots of old lion tracks around here that I'm having a look at. I just want to see if perhaps any new lion tracks have come onto this general area. Now, it was funny how things work out. I know that somebody was asking about the sticks yesterday, and there we go. Now we know exactly where they are. And apparently they're all still doing very well. I'm not too sure how many cubs. Oh, I should have asked that. I lost that opportunity, but I'm sure I'll speak to one of the other guys this afternoon and maybe find out if the cub count is 6 or 8. Now, I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to find more lion tracks here. But the tricky part is to actually see them while you drive. And not too many things have been around here, not too many antelope species, so I wonder if perhaps they have picked up on the fact that likely they were some of the largest predators around this general vicinity. Birds don't seem too bothered. We've seen a fair amount of them this morning fluttering around, which is quite good. I think yesterday it took them a little while longer to start moving around. So maybe this afternoon we will have another wonderful day of birding out there. Alright, nothing here yet. Just some old elephant tracks that you can barely just see. What is here? I wonder where these sneaky lions have gone off to. Okay, well, I think Taylor was mentioning earlier on that she absolutely loves the Sabi sand, and she was just talking about all the things that she loves about it. And I think one of my favorite things about the Sabi sand is just the ability to off-road. It makes such a difference in my life, being able to just move into the bush and go look for things that are all the way in there. As a lot of the times it's quite frustrating. You know that they've gone up to, like here, like today. I know that I've checked the roads where they could potentially have come out. We haven't seen anything, so they must be in the block somewhere. And well, obviously there are all rules in terms of off-roading, because you can't just go dashing and braking and everything. And even if you do so, there's no guarantee that you would be able to find anything. Standing by. A-firm. Yeah, Taylor checked the boundary earlier, and I don't think she picked up on any tracks going our way, or going out. Alright, seems like Alrighty, copy. Thank you, Herbie. Alright, Herbie has a strong feeling, as well as I do, that those tracks have carried on going towards where we initially had those male tracks earlier on today. So he's going to go and have a look around there, and I'm going to check around here once more, because I have very strong hopes that they'll be somewhere in this general area. I think this is indeed a game of patience, where I would like to be a bit more stubborn and successful than the lions. So hopefully that'll be the case. Alright, let's see what's... So we have done this road already, and not too many things around here, so I wonder... Oh, hello, little Franklins! Running in front of the road, are you? Now, I believe Taylor had a cocky francolin yesterday. That was an incredible add-on for the birdless, because they're not that easy to spot, and I think I've only actually seen 2 in all of my life. Alright. We are back on Twin Dams. Same old, just one Egyptian goose moving around, and not too many birds fluttering all around the sky. So it seems like we have come full circle. You can hear some francolins in the distance, alarm calling, making their noises. Hang on a second. think these mankelings are having territorial battle with the clan that's far away, because I can hear some of them calling from quite a distance and then the rest of them start alarming. So I think the Egyptian goose that we were looking at is the midpoint between those two. There's some further west of it and then some more to the east of it. I wonder how Egyptian geese feel when they're not the loudest ones. Must be an unusual feeling for all of them. Alrighty. Let's see. Alright, seems like Taylor couldn't find her elephants, but let's go over to her and perhaps she will find another animal. Seems like Taylor's on a roll this morning.
Well, I'm on a roll as in we're moving forward. I don't know if we're on an animal roll, unfortunately. They seem to be giving us the slip today. Now, we just passed Buffelshoek Dam. Sadly, there wasn't very much going on at all. Now we're on the cut line, on Buffelshoek cut line. And I want to just go back and check that impala carcass that we had up the tree yesterday. We'll have a quick look around there, see if anything is about, and then I think we're going to go to the hyena den, and if there's nothing at the hyena den, we'll go back towards the area of the elephants, and hopefully we would have given them enough time to move down. They were coming straight towards the Mulwati, so it might just take them maybe half an hour or so before they get them, or as I said earlier, they could get stuck into some trees and they could spend most of the morning there. But at least the elephants are on the property again. It's a big herd, so I think we will have them again for this afternoon, which would be nice. Maybe Ali would like to follow up on something like that. Like, we both love elephants just as much as each other, and it is always nice. A quick and easy way to put a smile on our faces to see the gentle giants. Maybe it's gone, maybe something has taken it, and that's why Ali couldn't find it, but it was hidden. If you didn't know exactly where I was talking about, you may not have seen it. Hang on, is it there still? No. Let's have a look here. Now, a few of you are wondering if that carcass could have been from Hyena. It could have been from any leopard. I don't know. It's a difficult one. It's gone. That is bizarre. The ground, it was up here in this tree. What on earth? That is crazy. It was here. The hyenas couldn't have taken it out the tree. They don't climb trees. Let's check on the ground. Someone came to finish it off. This is so sneaky. I'm going to get out now. So I just want to move the car away. No. Slightly further. Actually, you should be able to see it from there. I'm going to get out again. I think it's time I lose the blanket now. Take my skirt off. Don't worry, I promise I do have pants on. After all the joking we were doing last night on Twitter, I think I need to just very quickly unzip my jacket. It's actually getting quite warm, which is nice. So have a look here. This is crazy. I cannot believe it. So whoever was here, whoever this leopard was, came back. And I mean, you saw from yesterday, and you're welcome to share maybe the pictures that were taken yesterday. See, everything is coming undone. Look at this sneaky thing that's underneath here that holds my mic pack. Has now, I think, lost its stickiness. So we're going to have to, I don't know, well, we'll just put that in my pocket for now. So everything is falling apart this morning. You can also go in my pocket. But if you look down on the ground, I need a stick because I don't really want to touch it with my hands. It's a big stick. Look at all this hair. Which hair can you see? This one, is this easier? Yeah, it's out in the open. This is all the hair. And obviously they, whichever leopards were here, or leopard was here, pulled out. And this has to be, this could have happened in between game drive. It could have happened last night. I'm just trying to see. But where are the horns? Because, well, a leopard doesn't eat keratin. Only the keratin moths feast upon keratin. I just want to do a quick walk around here. This is a serious mystery that we've got going on. Maybe the hyenas came through and chased the leopard away, and then they snatched up and now have moved what was left of the carcass around. Isn't that bizarre? No wonder Ali couldn't find it, because it's not in the tree anymore. But if you didn't know it was this tree, you wouldn't think to come and have a look to see if there was hair here. I've had to come off road to do this. You know what? I'm just checking. Some bird feces here and all the way down here. So maybe vultures came in as well yesterday, but they don't pluck hair like what's happened over here. This is definitely from a bird. Crazy. The mysteries in the bush. Again, we've been outsmarted by these animals. Okay, well, what we'll do, if I get back in, let's just go onto this fire break again. No one really drives it, so we'll check for tracks. Maybe Hosana and Shongile were here. Maybe it was them. But that's unusual. They don't... Please go in reverse. They don't hide. They're not skittish leopards. They never have been skittish leopards. Very interesting. Well, there we go. Megan, you can tell Ali that she doesn't have to feel so bad now about not seeing that carcass, because it's gone. I pulled my earpiece out again. I'm having a wardrobe. Now I can hear again. Okay, let's quickly go to the fire break. It's just here. So check these little spots to see if I can pick up on any tracks. Please don't be a big stump in the long grass, please, because that would be disastrous. Okay, we'll go down. I'm going to check this junction and I'll come back up and drive the length of the fire break. Just don't know which way these cats would have gone, so that's what we have to figure out now. Now I think I've got male leopard tracks here. Yeah. Just check here very quickly. Those ones don't look super fresh, and they're not the same ones that we had yesterday. Very confusing. I'm sure if you think that you're confused, you can imagine my brain is completely boggled. Okay, I'm going to get out and actually just have a little walk around and see if I can figure out which tracks are going where and whose they are. Ali has taken a break from the cats and she's looking at a kingfisher.
Yes, a brown-hooded kingfisher by the looks of it. We can just see that beautiful blue on its wings. Now, very similar to the woodland kingfisher, that is just a migratory species that we only get during the summertime. But this is its counterparter that sticks around with us all year long, and the reason why it does it, it's because it's actually one of the fewer species of kingfishers that actually fishes for food. A lot of them in this area, they just come and they eat insects. So out of the, I think it's about 10 species or 12 species of kingfishers that we get in southern Africa, only about 4 of them actually eat fish. Which is always a mind-boggling fact for me. And I quite adore these little creatures. Now, unfortunately, it would seem that the male and female lion that we were looking for, I think perhaps somebody drove over the tracks this morning, because they have gone all the way up to Buffelshoek. So we know where they are, and unfortunately it's not here, but we have tried very hard to find them. So sorry about that, guys. Herbie is still out on foot. Perhaps he will get lucky with the other one. And if he does, then he'll give us a shout. Now we've got a... Oh, I thought it was 2 yellow-billed, but it's actually a red-billed hornbill and a yellow-billed hornbill sharing the grounds while they go foraging and looking for food. And jumping all around, are you? Ah, found something nice. We've just witnessed a kill. probably very useful, this beak that they've got, where that they can use it as a shovel to try and pull apart and move all of the grass that might be around them, to be able to get to either some of the insects underneath, or perhaps even some seeds that are left from when the grass was beautiful and green. Now, I was saying about the kingfishers that we get in this area. Now, we get lots of different kingfishers. The giant kingfisher, the pied kingfisher, they stick around here all year round. And so does the malachite kingfisher. This beautiful African pygmy kingfisher, we only get it here during the summertime. And then now, I was mentioning earlier on about the woodland kingfisher, which is this one over here, and this one is that very characteristic chip that we hear all throughout summer. Very beautiful blue wings. And the one that we were looking at is actually this one, the brown-hooded kingfisher. So very similar, because it's also got that beautiful blue, but the blue is just on the underside of the wing. So this little one, we are not too far from one of the dips, and it's one of those very good areas where the kingfishers are often seen, because there are little things that they can go and feed upon there. So I think maybe this one was actually coming from there. Is it still there? Hunter, you're wondering how we tell the difference between a female and the male. Well, let's have a look at the book. Now I've lost the page, so give me 1 second to get there. There we go, 250. Now, if we're looking over here, then the male, and I think that's probably the one that we were looking at, has got this blue that goes all the way to pretty much mid of the wing. And normally the males will be slightly more colorful than the females, because the females, well, the males need to attract the females, so they need to be shinier and prettier. So you see the female has got less blue on the side of its wing. So it's just almost like a trailing edge of the wing, whereas the one in the male is a lot thicker. And that's how you can tell the difference between the male and the females, because pretty much the rest of the body is very similar, just a bit more perhaps brown on top of the female's head. Beautiful. I think it's still fluttering about somewhere around here, so I'm gonna see if perhaps we can find another little bird, as I think there was also a black flycatcher flying around not too long. Some kingfishers, not kingfishers, francolins with a racket. Alright, let's see. Seems like this marula tree is a good spot to start looking for all these little creatures. Alright. Can we have a look at... I would say cardinal woodpecker. It's one of the smallest ones. Stop moving your head. I think maybe that's too much to ask for from a woodpecker, not to move their head all that much. Yeah. I'm gonna go with cardinal woodpecker just because it's a lot smaller than a golden tail. Golden tails are normally a bit bigger, and then if we look over here, I'm on the wrong page. We saw a lot of streaked underparts for the cardinal woodpecker. I think that was the most obvious thing as it was fluttering around, just all the streaks that it had here, and then I can't bend it this way, and then the golden-tailed woodpecker has a very obvious red top of its head, which I think this one didn't have, although it was moving around quite a bit, so hard to tell. And also golden tails have that very characteristic call that they make, that is, well, it's described as almost like somebody putting a nail on the wall, like type of thing. I am terrible at imitating calls, so I'm sorry, that's probably the reason why I can't sing. But well spotted, Seb. That was a tricky one. And it does seem like there's lots of life in this marula. I thought I saw earlier on as well some chin spot batters, which are some of my favorite little things. But oh, I think there it is. Let me just double check that I'm looking in the right spot. But it's such a small bird that I've actually lost it. So if you carry on going to the left branches, all the way to the top, there's a more. It was jumping around there, so maybe it's flown up. Yeah. Okay, can you go down a little bit and to the left? It's jumped again. Not an easy one to spot, this little chin spot batis, because it won't stop jumping around in between the trees, and it is one of the smallest birds around here, so it's not making it easy for us. Hey, Seb.
No.
But amazing. Okay, let's try this one. Do you see? Trying to figure out the branch that I'm looking at. This branch here. And this one. Okay, I think.
It's very awkward position for me.
All right. I think you are doing a very good job, though.
It's too much above us.
Yeah. All right. I think we can just leave them here because they're not making it any easier for us, and I think our necks are a bit stiff from pretty much going like this to try and look at all the little birds. Maybe we will find some that are easier to spot. But this was good. It was a good marula tree with all the little things, including a kingfisher hanging out with a woodpecker. Not bad. Now, I wonder what else we should look for this morning. Perhaps, what are we going to look for? Elephants would be nice, but I think they're all slowly making their way towards the drainage line, so maybe a little bit later on they'll start making their way there. I was feeling quite brave and I took off my gloves, and I think I'm not ready for that yet, so I'm going to put them back on. While I try to put these gloves and not crash into any trees, let's go over to Taylor, see if she solved the mystery.
This mystery, I don't know if it is solvable. I don't think even the greatest detective could figure out what's going on. Now, I have an idea. I'm wondering if maybe it wasn't Hosan and Shongile, because I picked up on male and leopard, both male and leopard, female and male leopard tracks, going up and down and going towards that tree and then coming back down again, going towards Gari cut line. Now, the Mulwati is not very far. It's a very quick walk, and once you hit the Mulwati, it'll be a straight gamble straight towards and back towards Gari Main. So I think it could have been them. But where were they hiding, though? This is the only thing, is that, you know, maybe it was Mvula's presence that made them slightly nervous and skittish, and maybe that's why they moved away from that carcass. But I'm confused. They look like adult female tracks. I haven't seen Shongile's footprints for quite some time, and she's of course growing, so they could well be hers. The leopard tracks for the male looked massive, but both Tamba, Hosana, their feet are almost exactly the same size as Tingana's now. They've still just got to grow into their feet, but they're rather big. So it's a tough one. I don't really know what's going on, and it's quite difficult to give an exact answer, because we didn't see the leopards, and unless the leopard has got maybe a deformity in its padding on its feet, then you can be able to identify leopards exactly by their tracks. But I think it's one of the hardest things to, of course, try and do. So a mystery that we'll just have to label and solve. We have an idea. We have a couple of opinions as to what could have happened. I think what we're going to do now is, there's lots of hyena tracks here, and of course, because we're on Galago shortcut now. Justin, you said we need Herbie on the case. Most certainly. If only he could split himself into two, it would be great. Can you imagine having two Herbies? We would just have animals coming out of our ears. It'd be just way too many of them. But I just think from the distance from where we actually are, going straight towards Gari Main is not actually that far, and it's quite easy for those leopards to have traveled that distance in just an evening. Interesting. Some of these hyena tracks, I don't see any hyena tracks going back like we did yesterday. I just see them all coming down this way, the adults. And we'll poke our nose in and see if there's anything around. One was laying on the ground there, probably a hyena resting up. But the horn story, I don't know where the horns have gone. So the hyenas must have heard that commotion again, not very far from where the hyena den is, and they probably went walking around there and found them on the ground, feeding upon the last of the impala remains, and maybe chased them away. Maybe that's what encouraged them to move off and head sort of straight south. Okay, let's go in here. Let's go have a look. Whoops, I pulled my earpiece out again. Why do I keep doing that today? That's the second time. Get back in there. I think my arms are waving around a bit too much. Come on, Rusty. Turn. Why are you turning like the truck now? Okay. Is anyone going to be home? Don't see anything, any movement just yet. I don't know if anyone's here. Oh no, I've got shorts on, and that's a very thorny bush. Yeah, I definitely need to come and do a little bit of cleaning up here. I can see hyenas and adults. Hi guys. And the crowd goes wild in Final Control. Okay, we're gonna have to go all the way around now, so they're not at the main entrance. This is where the little ones go in and out underneath that fallen tree. They're just laying on the other side. So now we need to just find a gap. So Sebastian and I have started making a big track that goes all the way around, and that is a decent distance away from any of the entrances. Oh, please don't get me thorns. I've driven through so many thorns lately. I look like I've been through a paper shredder. Okay, so we're just going to take it very slowly and easy because this track isn't well worn yet, so there's still lots and lots of bits and things in the way. I don't want to scare the hyenas. Should move that one away. We're almost there, I promise. The little elephants have also been in here quite a bit. They pushed all the bush willows over, so they've created all these booby traps. Okay, we should start to see them again. Our little friend is already coming out to say hello. I can just see its little ears popping out. I'm going to pull in over here to the right. It's not going to be the clearest view, but we should be able to see it. But this is just where they rest. Hello, friend! They rest in the shade on this side. I don't think they're necessarily utilizing these entrances because the entrances that are over here are covered with lots of thorny trees. Hello, yes, we're back. It's not Ali though. Remember me? I'm Taylor. They're such a sweet little hyena. So curious. Where's your playmate? I haven't seen your little friend for quite some time. I'm sure the younger hyena cub is still around. You see what happens when you are that age and you're so much younger. When mom gets back, you'll have a suckle and your belly will be so full. There's an adult hyena, you can see a leg, so you know that the adults are here. And they might go back into the den and just actually sleep in there, not necessarily always wanting to play. I don't know what time they got back. We need to actually try and figure out when they're getting back here. The first thing in the morning is not the greatest time to check because it is so cold. So you can see this little one hasn't got as much energy as what it has had over the past few days, but your belly looks nice and full. So that's good. You're going back now. Maybe it will just lay out in the sun. It will obviously be quite difficult if it does go back towards where the adults are because we can't get in there. And also I don't want to put too much pressure on them. They should have spots where they can rest in peace. Hunter, you're wondering how many cubs can a hyena have? Typically not more than 2. And then often normally only one survives. Sometimes both cubs will survive, but it's really not more than that. You see there is this little spot where we can't get to. But like I said, it's just because it's shady. And you'll find that they'll move as the sun moves because then the shade it changes a bit. I'm wondering I'm just thinking now because we can't see them at all. So I know if we maybe go all the way around again and park at the front entrance, we may be able to just see around that corner and just see a tip of the ear because everyone's resting at the moment. Let's try that. But I love that little hyena. Every time it hears the cars, ooh, it comes out to greet us, to come and say hello. Maybe I can see a gap up top. It's obviously no, that's obviously not the way that I came. I need to try and figure out how I can't. Oh, that way. Let's go all the way. You just have to bear with me because that's a sickle bush. I need to do a little bit of maneuvering. It's not the easiest here. I have to concentrate so I don't break the car. Okie dokie, I think I'm going to have to do some serious maneuvering around here to try and find an easy route. Ellie has arrived at another dam. I wonder which birds will be wading around in the water.
Well, we are also wondering what would be there or what would be here because we've just arrived. So let's have a look and see who's come down for a drink. Take the binoculars out and start scanning around for all the pretty birds. I think for now lots of starlings. Some Cape Glossy starlings on the other side. 4 in a row, that looks quite funny. All of them come down for a drink. Julia, you're wondering if the starling's feathers have some sort of water resistance. Well, all of them do. The birds have a gland in the back of their tail that's called the preen gland, and this gland secretes an oil, and they coat their feathers with that oil to protect them from any natural agent, be it dust, be it water. And that's why when you see the water coming onto most of the birds, it's almost like the water droplets slide over the bird's body, avoiding or preventing the bird from sinking. Now, is that an Egyptian goose? It looks like it. You're like a youngster. You're looking funny. Maybe a youngster. Some green pigeons. Huh, somebody's on fire today, spotting little flying things. There we go. Now, excuse our aerial. It's a bit of a tricky spot where we're in because Seb just spotted them behind us, but they are standing there and they're not moving anywhere. So hopefully we'll be able to have a look at them. Bird's giving you a hard time today, Seb.
Yeah.
Alright, there we go. The green pigeons. Very beautiful birds that fly around, and you see those streaks of green just going across the going across the sky. I think Seb is still fighting, but Seb, don't worry, you won already.
It's not in the shot.
Very beautiful. Now I wonder, this pair, I think it's just the two of them, and we've been seeing them every so often around here, so there must be a tree somewhere in this area that they've been enjoying and that they keep sticking around. But it's good to see them. I think the name green pigeon couldn't be more appropriate for this particular bird. It's one of those occasions where the super descriptive name actually gets it all the way right. Two of them there. The horrible aerial that Seb has been fighting with. Seems like Taylor has managed to find a better spot at the hyena den, so let's go over to her and see what those tiny little things are up to.
We've managed to get a little bit of a better spot. Our little friend over here is still around and keeps coming up to the car every now and then. And I could hear some lions roaring too. It sounds like it's coming from the Manuleti side, somewhere around there. It's not particularly close. It was very faint. It was actually the hyena that alerted me, because this little one was right at the car and then it stopped and looked and listened. And then I thought, oh, wonder what you're listening at. Now, Ashes, when you're wondering if he or she is actually a cub, if I'm not mistaken, I think James may have identified this and said that this little one was a male. So it's still quite young. I would still call it a cub. It's not quite a sub-adult just yet. So yes, even though it has got the coloration of an adult, it is still very small. It's only about maybe less than a third of the size of an adult, so it's still got quite a bit of growing to do. So I would still be happy with calling it a cub. It's still less than 6 months old, at least, somewhere around there. They're very quiet. There's just 2 adults here. It looks like 2 females. I can't see you. I mean, you can see the view we've got is exactly the same that's on camera. It's almost impossible to try and identify them just from their backs. I can't remember if any of them had any specific patterns on their bodies, but the grass is also concealing them. Now, I wonder where our little friend is, the teeny tiny hyena cub that we did get to see. I know Gert was telling me that it wasn't here either yesterday, but like I said, it could just be in the burrow. Maybe it's just getting some extra sleep. If Mom is not here, it might not feel comfortable to come out. Maybe it's just not very happy. We'll just see. Oh, that's lovely. Going over and giving Mom some love, giving her a quick groom. Isn't that nice? So even hyenas can be affectionate, even though they've always been portrayed as the bad guys in all the movies. They're not too bad. I'm going to lick you some more and lick you so hopefully you wake up so I have someone to play with. Go fetch your friend. But we'll keep coming back to these dens to see if anything is going on throughout the day as well. Hopefully they'll be back this afternoon and we'll be able to get to see them again. And I know it's so nice to be able to just sit here and actually just enjoy them. It's a very good learning opportunity now to just sit and observe all this behavior. You don't often get to see hyenas being affectionate either. I know I could probably count on my fingers how many times I've actually seen that. So very, very sweet. Where are you going now? Going to the next hyena? I'm going to see what you're doing. No, you're also sleeping. The little one is probably very frustrated that everybody is fast asleep. But while you were resting up and probably sleeping through the night, Mom was out scavenging. Definitely at least one hyena. I got a video of it again around camp. It's not as great. But I did hear some more rustling a bit, so there could have been more of them around. See, they're not tolerating this little one. Go away, I'm trying to have a nap. You can hear how quiet it is around the den too. Not too much noise is going on. We got a horrendous smell as well as we drove a big loop around the den. It smelled like dead fish. It wasn't great. Now, Marcel, you're wondering if hyenas' tongues are as rough as cats. I'm not sure. Maybe not, because obviously a cat's tongue needs to be quite rough because they will lick and lick and lick away at an animal's coat and actually remove the hair like that. Whereas hyenas don't seem to do that. They pull. They'll actually tear open the carcass and then eat around, and they often just eat all the skin with the hair on. They don't seem to mind it too much. So it's actually quite interesting. So I'm not sure. I don't think so. Just from what I said, I think maybe it wouldn't be as rough. I mean, you've felt the difference between when your cat licks your hand versus when your dog licks your hand. And your dog definitely does have a softer tongue. So I'm going to say, no, I don't think that their tongues are as rough. They don't use them in the same way. Yes, they're using them to still groom their coats. But you don't need much. What are you doing? You think it's smelling and biting? I wonder if it's got something stuck on its fur that this youngster just seems to think that is quite appetizing. An unusual scent, an unusual smell. You're going to come back to us? Are you going to come and lick my feet now? I love this little guy. It is so precious. And just the whole world is his oyster, really. He's just like, I can do whatever I want. I can come to the car. I can go back into the burrow. There we go. Depositing An anal secretion. Can we see anything on that grass? Can we see where the secretion is? Because I keep telling you I want to find some anal pastings for you to get a closer look. Let's see if it does it again and we can see which one it uses. Now, as they paste, I'm glad he's doing it this way and not turning his rump towards us, because it's not necessarily the prettiest thing. Oh, we might see it now. Let's see. Yep, we're going to get a rear end view here. I don't think it's quite learned how to do it just yet. It's obviously seen the adults doing it and it needs a bit of time to practice and perfect it. Penny, you said that the hyena cub is probably bored. You're quite right. Look at it. It's walking around. It's investigating. It doesn't really know what to do with itself at the moment. And it's a tough life for the youngsters. I mean, you know what it's like to have your children. You've got to constantly keep them entertained, whether it's with toys or, just getting them to play outside, or you physically having to entertain them. You can see that the adults here are not interested at all. They've had a busy night. They're tired. They want to use this time to relax. So the little one has to find other ways to try and entertain itself, and it will. It'll go about its day playing with things. It might chew on a stick. I just wish it had its little friend out, because then they would be able to, well, keep each other company and play around. Now, it's also important that this little one does investigate with its nose and smell the various things out here and start practicing to do the anal pastings. I know it's not a nice word, but there's no other way to really put it, because that's exactly what it is. So we're not going to sugarcoat anything. We haven't got any school drives on just now, so we won't necessarily just keep it PG. Yes, there we go. Wake up, little one. Come and play this side. And the reason why I say it is so important is because each group of hyenas, each clan of hyenas has got their own unique scent. And it's important that this little one learns what its clan scent is going to be. Because say it does go wandering off somewhere and maybe might get a little bit lost, it's going to have to then figure out where to go. Where's it gone now? Onto the other side. Maybe it's gone to where we'd stopped to smell around to see what our smells are. Oh no, there it is. It's back again. It's just did a little loop. Just looking off to the side. You're so precious. Well, we'll sit you for a little bit longer and see what it gets up to. While we do that and play the patience game to see if our other little friend comes out, we'll go back across to Ali, who's moved on from her cat search and is just paying attention to the birds.
I wonder what's going on with my radio, because I can't hear anything that's going on. It seems like I have unplugged myself. Sorry, guys. Alright, now I'm back in, and we have been enjoying the company of some impala down at Gowrie Dam. We had also a mini, tiny version of the migration, all of them coming down for a drink, and they do it quite quickly. Normally, like we said, impala take their time when approaching water in any other areas, just because normally there are crocodiles or things that might potentially want to eat them, but this one's over here, they've been spoiled and they know that there's not too much to worry about. Beautiful herd of females. Now, Seb and I were having a look at what we called, or what I called, an Egyptian geese earlier on, and something just didn't feel right. So I think it's not an Egyptian goose at all. I think it's actually a duck. It looks more like a duck than what any potential Egyptian geese that we've got around here. So with the sun against us, and of course the lack of coffee that I've had this morning, I thought perhaps it was a juvenile of some sort, but definitely not. Look at all that plumage, it's all very different. So I think we are looking at a bird that might be a new one on my bird list, because I haven't been paying too much attention to ducks. So we think, and I'll double check with the guys once we get back, but I think this is a Cape Shoveler, and the female version, or just a female Cape Shoveler, just because of certain things that we've been distinguishing, that colors, those colors that they've got on the all along the body. And then if it does turn around, it seems like it's got a very shiny underwing, It's almost of like a bluish, beautiful bluish, greenish color that's very typical of duck. So that's who we think this mysterious duck is, which would be a completely new one on my bird list. Now, we have a few different options of what we think it might be, but we think is this one over here. Just by looking at it, it's got this very dark bill and then almost this brown reddish feathers on the top, and when it's been turning and tossing around, we've been able to see these very beautiful colors here. So that's why I'm leaning towards this one a bit more, and also this white on top here. Now, with all of the other birds that we've got, or all of the other ducks that we've got around here, well, yellow-billed nut is African black duck, southern pochard, definitely not. And then if we look here at the Egyptian goose, definitely not an Egyptian goose. It's not as big and it's lacking all these colors all around. So I think it's not this one. Rajni, you say this is a new bird to your list. Awesome, this is also a new one for my bird list. Also, I thought initially maybe the fulvous whistling duck, just because it's got all those beautiful colors, but then it got a bit confusing when we started seeing those very pretty colors on the side. Now, I haven't seen them around the Sabi Sand earlier on, and that's why I want to just maybe double check with some of the other guides just to be 100% sure that this is what it is, but I do think that we've got a very good possibility of being the Cape Shoveler. Now, I wish the sun would help us out a little bit more and we would be able to have this view on the side, but I think this is it, which would be nice. I get to add and write on my bird book once more, which is always good. Now, it seems like the impala have left us, but good, because we are hoping that this bird is going to turn around and start moving. Come on, little duckling. I think maybe it's even a young female. I just want to see your wings. Very beautiful. I love it when ducks start waggling their tails like that. I find it as one of the most hilarious things. Are you going to carry on? No. Going to sleep. One leg. Ashes one, you're wondering if Canadian goose ever come here. Well, I don't think they do. I think if it did happen, they would be far away from their route and probably in the wrong spot. I haven't seen them here, so I don't think down here. I'm not actually entirely sure what migratory route Canadian geese fly upon, but I've never seen them around here, so I am inclined to say that unless they get lost, we don't really see them here. And the last year has been quite interesting in terms of birds. There have been some very unusual sightings of certain species of birds that are not supposed to come into South Africa. There was recently the case of it's called a Malagasy pond heron, which is a funny looking heron that I think it's only been recorded a handful of times in South Africa, and it was seen in KwaZulu-Natal, another region of South Africa, just to the south and east from where we are. And a lot of very keen birders went all the way over there just to try and see this unusual bird. And then we had the white-cheeked bee-eaters, which are also very rare. We had them 2 years ago. We had them in Thornybush Game Reserve, which is about an hour's drive from here. And then last year again they were spotted in the Kalahari Desert. Now I'm trying to find this Malagasy pond heron just to show you guys what I'm talking about and why it caused so much. Where are you? Okay, heron, little tern, squawker. Okay, maybe it won't even be here because it's not even supposed to be here. It's not even on my bird book. Right, well, it looks somewhat... oh no, there it is. Oh, no wonder. This is what it looks like. I knew that I had seen it somewhere. So this is a non-breeding, so it wasn't breeding and they saw it with all this stripy pattern. Now when it comes into breeding, it becomes different, and you see it becomes all that white plumage and a very obvious blue beak. So I don't think it had even been recorded in South Africa, but it was spotted just a few weeks ago. So I wonder if perhaps all these currents of air and all the changes in our weather and everything that's been happening in terms of the general natural world, if perhaps that's what pushed this heron all the way here, because normally not around here. It's very, as the book defines it, as a very rare winter visitor to Mozambique and Zimbabwe. And then he decided to carry on. Perhaps it was time to come and do a bit of a safari in Africa, and that's why the heron decided to come here. Now, this Cape Shoveler, if it is what we are saying it is, then it should occur in this area. It's not that uncommon. I just haven't seen it around here, and I'm sure some of my bigger birder friends would be like, how can you not have seen this yet? But we'll see. I think Tristan's going to judge me the hardest, but we'll see. Now, it seems like our migration at Gary Dam has finished. All of the impala have gotten up and gone back to pretty much quarantine. I think that's where they headed off. I was so concerned with the duck that I didn't even see anything else. We're going to choose a route. We're not too sure where we're going to go from here, but let's go over to Taylor, who's enjoying the company of the hyena cubs.
Our little friend is going on a little bit of a walkabout, and one of the adults moved around to this other shady spot. We just changed our position just slightly from the den, so you can see how far away we are from the den. We don't want to get too close. The little one is just moving amongst the grass somewhere in there, and then it ventures too far, and then it gets a fright and comes racing back and startles the poor adults who are really just trying to get a bit of sleep. Now, I have no idea of the sex of this cub, because just a moment ago, I thought I remember James saying, I think it was male and female, or both females. I can't actually remember. I didn't get to spend much time with Ribbon's cubs, very sadly. But when we were having a look at the hyena a moment ago, and it's had its pseudo-vagina, if you will. Like I said, I'm so sorry. You have to be blatant about these things. Now, I know with the males, normally the tip of their penis is slightly wider, whereas this little one didn't really show those signs at all. So I wonder if it isn't a little girl. Like I said, I haven't spent much time with these hyenas at all, so you have to bear with me. I'm still getting to know them. So perhaps it is a little girl. But you can help me. You can hashtag Safari Live if you remember. Hyenas are not the easiest things to identify, especially when you're trying to tell between male and female, and their reproductive organs are almost exactly the same. It does take a little bit of practice, but we'll get better. Going back over. So I'm trying to figure out also which one is mom. It would obviously help if it would suckle, then we'd be definitely able to tell this must be mom. Nikki, you're wondering how prone are hyena cubs to wandering off? I haven't seen them go too far, but we just experienced it now. This little one probably went about maybe 80 meters or so away from the den site, which is quite a distance away. The adults couldn't see it anymore, and then it made a little distress call, and it came racing back, and the adults jumped up very quickly to see what the problem was, what was causing this little one to get a fright. So they can, like any young animal, they are curious. They've been told that they need to stay around this spot, but do they ever listen like children? No. They do what they want, and the further and further that they do wander away, they're going to find themselves in trouble. Now imagine as these adults are leaving the den, and that youngster is getting to the age now where it's going to want to start following the adults. It might do that. It might run after the adults even though it's been told to stay put. Then it needs to try and find its way back, and that's why it is so important that it learns its clan scent, because if that does happen, it can find its way back to the den. It's just like when you go out to the shops and you leave the gate open, your dog tries to follow you. It's a similar thing. They sort of get to a point and they go, "Wow, I've gone too far. Where my owners are, let me try and get back home." And it's almost similar to that. So we see it with leopard cubs, we see it with lion cubs. They all start to wander. We definitely saw it with Hosana and Shongile. They used to disappear and go about on their own adventures quite often. So it's not uncommon with young animals, really, unless you are something like an antelope, and I've seen that they seem to be very well trained, because whenever an inyala goes off or a bushbuck goes off and their mom says stay put in the thicket, because they often hide their little ones out of sight, And I've seen the same thing with waterbuck. They don't move. They just stay there. Here comes the little one's coming back out. It's actually going to another entrance. This is the entrance that's covered up by a shrub. No, it's just sitting in the shade. Just underneath all of those leaves, you can see it's quite difficult. So that entrance is quite protected, but it's also quite a big hole going in there. So there's 3 different entrances that I think that they are using. The one with the fallen tree seems to be the most used one. That's where we keep seeing the cubs coming in and out. That one might just be a good resting spot. And then, of course, there's that massive entrance right at the front of the hole, the first one that you see. But I don't think that they're going to get up to too much more. I think this little cub has obviously had a good suckle, had a good feed, belly's full, and is going to have a siesta and join in with the rest of the hyenas. I would just love to see that other younger cub. But we'll have to be patient. We were very lucky to see it the first day that we found the active den. But that's wonderful. I think we're actually going to head off now. I think we've sat with these hyenas for a bit of time now. You know, they're very relaxed with us. They're not particularly bothered. But we can come back in the afternoon, and I don't want to harass them too much. They deserve a bit of peace and quiet too. They don't need to hear my voice all the time. So thank you very much, hyenas, for showing yourself. Megan, any word on this cub? If it is male or female, has anyone confirmed that? Sorry. Just going to quickly find out. I missed the entire process of Ribbon's cubs growing up. Yeah, you see, this is a tough one. A couple of you are saying it's a male, and then I know a lot of you are also saying it's a female. It's not easy identifying the sexes of hyena, especially at such a young age. But like I said, I did notice, if you pull up a couple of pictures from Google, I don't think I have any of those demonstrated in my mammals book that I have here. But if you have a look, they'll tell you, sorry, Khat, just watch this terrible thorny plant. Go and have a look. Like I said, the tip of the penis of a male is typically a lot more broad, almost angular, if you will. Whereas with the females, the pseudo vagina. What is the pseudo? I'm going mental. I keep swapping everything around. The pseudo penis is just sort of very long, but not broad, if you will. Anyways, we're going to leave these guys. We'll let them rest. We'll come back again this afternoon. Maybe Ali will come and spend a bit of time with them. I'm going to send you to Ali. She's almost at quarantine. Maybe she'll find some crowned lapwings.
I know, we just left quarantine, so we've missed the crowned lapwings. But more than that, we saw the Senegal lapwings. Now, there has been a morning of mysteries. I'm not too sure. I cannot decide if it was a fulvous duck or a Cape shoveler. I was more inclined for the fulvous duck, but there was that bright underwing, that bright color on the underwing of that typical blue-grayish color of ducks that is proving to be a bit of a concern for me. So I think what I'm going to do is actually go and look through some of the screenshots and then do this with a bit more calmly and where the sun is not shining and reflecting on my eyes so that I can have a better look, and I will keep you all posted about that. But also I'm just wondering about these lions. It seems like they've been doing some very erratic things lately, and I find it strange that Taylor had those tracks coming in and then all of a sudden they were found all the way into Buffelshoek. So I don't know if maybe perhaps they went back down into the main road and that's why we couldn't see them, because we drove pretty much all the roads in that area and there was definitely not one track. There were, however, vehicle tracks on that road, so I wonder if maybe somebody drove over them and that's why we couldn't see them. I don't know. I think there's more to this lion mystery than what we had this morning. They keep playing with us. Hopefully we'll be able to solve the mystery, but thank you to everyone for tagging along on the mission this morning, trying to figure out how, where, and when. And who knows, there's still hope. Maybe we'll be able to come across that lion. I think Herbie is still looking for it, the one that we had of Philemon's cutline, so we're going to not be too far away from this area just to make sure that if Herbie does find anything that we are able to pick him up. John, sorry, I think you're asking if that lions' roars are not very loud. Is that the correct thing, Megan? John. John, okay, so you're saying that you thought or you've heard that lion roars are not that loud. Well, lion roars are very, very loud. They're probably one of the loudest calls out here in the bush. Standing by. Ephraim, do you need some? Taylor, come back. Yeah, do you need some? Alright, I'm not too sure what Taylor's asking. She's wondering. I can copy you now. I do have it with me. Okay, copy. I can see you in quarantine. Okay, copy. I'll see you somewhere Galago via teleaccess. Right, seems like Taylor had a bit of it and with her brake fluid. So luckily we've got a spare set here, so we're gonna probably head on that way. Give her a helping hand because we don't want her to drive around without brakes. That's not a fun experience. We've all had to done it before. So lucky we're not too far from where she is, so we're gonna just go meet her and then we'll carry on our search for all the little creatures around here, because I'm sure she doesn't want to have to drive around on first gear using the handbrake all throughout. Shame. Alright, now I lost my train of thought of what I was saying earlier. John, your question about lions roaring. It is one of the loudest sounds out here in the bush, and it's able to travel miles and miles away, especially during cold nights. And like we said, we are in the middle of the property and we hear them calling on reserves further south from us. And in a straight line, I would reckon that sometimes that's about 10-15 kilometers. So, and if you've ever heard or if you've ever been lucky enough to be close to a lion roaring, it is one of the deepest sounds that will get into the middle of your system. It's quite an incredible sound. They can make softer noises. They don't always have to roar when they communicate with other lions. Sometimes they do what is called a contact call, whereby they will roar more softly, just to try and find out where the pride members are that are already somewhat close to them. As the roaring is mostly as a territorial thing, just for advertising of their presence in a particular area and their dominance in a particular area. And I think it's by far my most favorite sound out here in the bush. I don't think anything quite compares to a lion roaring. What do you think, Sam?
Oh, for sure. It's my favorite song, right?
Yeah, your favorite one too. Yeah, I think it is something. And leopard sowing. Yeah, those are some very incredible sounds that we are lucky enough to hear here in the bush every now and again. Not that I heard them last night, because apparently I was sleeping too soundly. But I think Taylor, between the stalking of the hyenas that she's been doing lately and just general insomnia, she's been able to hear lions quite often. Which is good, because she then keeps us all posted on where she's heard all of these lions calling from. Now, I don't think I'm too far from where I'm supposed to meet her. Maybe somewhere around here. Yeah. Let's see if maybe we can find Taylor. Oh, I can see her. I can see a green car dashing through the bushes. Alright, we shall get there in the next 30 seconds or so. As we're doing a bit of a longer loop. And there is Taylor. And I can't believe she's wearing shorts. Only brave Taylor will wear shorts in a cold African morning. Hello. I can't believe you're wearing shorts.
It's warm now.
I'm still wearing all my jackets. You are a lot braver than me.
It's not just me. Ali has to drive around with this.
Did you also break yours?
Yeah, it's leaking a little bit.
Uh,
Must have just done it now though. Right this time, back left. Yeah. So while I still got some in, I'm just going to top it up a bit.
Good. Well, keep it. I'll come and get it later. I'm just going to turn around here and then go where I came from.
Okay.
Bye, guys. It does happen often. We've all decided that where the brake pipes connect, it's just to our back wheels, but they're put in such a way that it's very easy when we go off-roading for them to get caught in between little branches and then they snap. So I think we've all done it. Everyone that's been here for long enough has at one point had a problem with some of their brakes. Alright, bye guys! And off we go into our intended route. Let's see if maybe we can do all of the new road before drive finishes and perhaps maybe even bump into Shadow over there. I think I'm still daydreaming about all the termite mounds they jumped on top that day. Mimi, you're wondering if lionesses roar the way that males do. Well, yes, the females are territorial and they will fight other female prides and try to keep them away for their territory. There is a bit of a difference in sound because the males seem to be able to roar just because they are bigger and probably have bigger lungs and bigger vocal cords. They can roar like slightly louder than the females. But yes, the females also roar and they also make the contact calls to try and get all their pride members to come to wherever it is that they are. Alright. Ah, mongoose. Let's see. Come on, little guys. Got a little one peering from the mound. You are very brave. And your face is dirty. Awesome. They're all around here. And if you hear that, that's the rest of the clan moving around. We've got another youngster there. Hello. You are very cute. And of course, the ever loyal yellow-billed hornbill. Now, hornbills and mongoose have what is defined as a mutualistic relationship whereby they will both benefit from the presence of the other one. So while the mongoose start moving around and start disturbing the grass, little insects are going to come out and then it's easier for the hornbills to pick them up. And in exchange, it's believed that if the hornbill will make an alarm call and just let all of the mongoose know that there's potential danger approaching so that they can quickly hurry and get either back into the mound or into safety. Well, there's a mound right next to the main road, so I think maybe that's why these ones are so curious. I'm sure they're not the first car that they've seen driving around here. Hello. Can hear lots of them around. Very sweet. Very curious, are you? Huh. Are you coming out now? He does look very funny with that piece of, I think it's almost like a piece of grass stuck on its nose. And I think you can see that it's starting to bother him because it's quickly moving the nose, probably to try and get rid of it. But you can use your hands, you know that. No, maybe not. Maybe it's still a bit of a mystery. You have been left behind. Everyone has moved off and everyone's busy carrying onto the thickets. So I think maybe this one's just caught in between of a game. Is like, oh, I'm too curious, I want to know what's happening, or should I carry on and go back out? We've got a vehicle behind us, so unfortunately I'm going to have to move up, and we're going to leave this little mongoose here. I'm sure it also wants to have the opportunity to move around and go and catch up with the rest of the clan. Bye, little ones. Alright. Now, let's see. This is as good a road as any, and I'm hoping for some button quails around here. That would be nice, because the grass is starting to thin out, so maybe we can see the tiny little ones, as they're one of the smallest birds that we get in this general area. And they're also very funny to watch. They make such a loud noise for such a small creature. Alright. I haven't done this road in a little while, so it's always interesting to see who's been around here and what hasn't been around this particular area. Seems like Taylor has managed to find her braves, and she is now also looking at mongoose, so let's go over to her and see how the habituation is going.
I'm out of the car, as you can see. I'm sitting on quarantine. And just over here is a little termite mound where there were a whole bunch of dwarf mongoose. Now, there's lots of them everywhere. They're all over. There's some down there, and if you watch very carefully, you'll see, look, there's a little head popping out. Can you see just to my left? Now, I always tell you about this, how I used to get my guests out of the car. We would sit down next to a mound, and they'd come out and all around you, so I just thought, why don't we try it while we're live and see how it goes? I don't know how many are here, but they're all running all over the area. The others are very far away from us, and they're watching me. Now, typically you'd want to do this, you'd want to sit very, very quietly. But I thought if I maybe just talk just in a very soft voice, they'd eventually just get used to it and not be bothered by it at all. I mean, they hear our voices all the time. You also don't want to move around too much. I'm going to say sitting in this position. Hi guys, you can come out. Maybe I'll just sit quietly for just 2 minutes. How cool is this? You can hear them, they're also talking to each other. Like I said, there's so many of them around here. So they're going to just keep poking their heads out like that. They're trying to suss me out at the moment and figure out if I'm a threat or not. I don't want to eat you. I've got Amanda's cooking to look forward to. I promise I'm not interested in eating a dwarf mongoose. I'd rather have eggs and bacon or fruit salad. Something along those lines. Something on my hat. What is it? There's one that looks like it's going to get out and make a run for it too. And hopefully if that one sort of comes out of the mound, the others will follow in its footsteps. Yes, you can come out. I won't bother you. Yes, come out. Hello. Look, coming right out of the mound. How cool is that? Now, I'm probably sitting about 2 meters away from this mound, so I haven't gone and sat right up next to it. I have given them a little bit of room. And they won't come out if they feel as though I am threatening them. I suppose it's also better to check around, make sure there's no other animals trying to sneak up on me. And surprisingly, the crowned lapwings, there's quite a few crowned lapwings not too far away from me in the distance, haven't even alarmed at my presence either. So that's quite nice. Yes, come out. Come and sit next to me. It's not going to come and sit next to me. But they might be brave enough to creep out of their burrow. They're talking to each other. They're communicating. I think this one is communicating with the other mongoose that are running in the distance. Now, it's very difficult for me because as I sit here and talk to you, I really want to use my hands. But I know if I use my hands and make sort of these quick, sudden movements, that's not going to work very well. That is definitely going to give them a fright. So turning my head around is okay. They don't seem to mind this movement too much, but anything more than that will most certainly startle them and send them down back into their mounds. They're getting braver. Hello. Yes, come out. I'm probably thinking, oh, you're a very large mongoose. We're not going to be fooled by you, Taylor. We'll just give it a couple more minutes and see if they come out. If they don't, then I shall get back in the car. But I haven't done this for such a long time, and it was one of my favorite things to do, to sit around them. Come on, come out. I'll even tell you when you need to duck if I see a raptor. How's that? I'll trade you. I'll be an extra pair of eyes and ears. Can you hear it squeaking? They're talking quite a bit here next to me. Hello. He's still just looking at me, that one. Hasn't quite figured me out just yet. Now, I know they do this a lot with the meerkats and the Kalahari. That's something that I'd absolutely love to go and do. Are you not going to come out? Come on, show us how brave you are. Maybe if we keep coming here to the same spot and trying to do this on a regular basis, we might get lucky and end up habituating this group of mongoose. But we were talking about it yesterday. They don't necessarily keep the same mound all the time. They could just be utilizing this one because they were foraging in the area. Maybe they don't live here at all. They can travel quite far distances away from their homes as well. See, there's one running down there. All running around here. Go and join your friends. He wants to come out. Thinking about it. There you go. It's just popping its feet over the top. Here it comes. Squeaking at me. I wish I could communicate with you, mongoose. But I can't. I don't know how to speak mongoose. See, look how relaxed it's become. It's obviously keeping an eye out on me all the time, and I don't blame it. It would be silly if it didn't keep an eye out on me. But it's felt relaxed enough to completely come right out of that little hole. This is so cool. There's another one. There's a little one that's wanting to come out and join it too. You might not be able to see it. It's just sitting behind the adult. Oh, and back in they go. That was really cool. Okay, I'm going to come back to the car now. I think that was enough playing around with the mongoose. Thank you, guys. That is so cool. I love doing that. And we'll leave them at peace and we'll see if they're here this afternoon. And maybe we can try again. Hey, how great was that? Let's see if we can find the rest of them. Yvonne from Sweden, you said that you timed me and it was barely 30 seconds sitting quietly. I can't help myself, Yvonne. I have a problem. I chat way too much. I love talking. I'm going to find the rest of them. Here they are. Here's some more. There must be 30 or 40 here. At one point I saw about 15 of them all huddled up together, and it might not just be one family group. There might be a couple of different family groups of the mongoose living on this massive area. I mean, quarantine is beautiful at the moment. There's definitely a good chance of them finding food, but there's 2 more. And literally every termite mound that you go to, there'll be some mongoose just up on them. They're all running around here. But it's really nice. So maybe I'm really going to think we're going to try it this afternoon again. Hopefully they haven't moved off. And maybe we'll get them so relaxed that they do this, what they're doing now, and feel free to walk around. We'll try and find a bigger colony though, and see if we can't get a few more. Maybe if there's only 1 or 2 of them around in that particular point, they might feel reluctant to come out. But if you've got many more eyes and ears and safety in numbers, they might feel a little bit more willing to come out. Because every time I have done it, it has been with quite a large group of mongoose, not necessarily just a handful of them. They are so sweet. They're such wonderful animals. I mean, I was telling you yesterday, it had taken me quite some time to actually get a decent mongoose sighting. And now look, we've had 2 in a row. Our luck is changing. Might not be lucky with the cats today. I don't know if those lions are on the property. They're doing a very, very good job at hiding, of course. But who knows? Maybe we get another opportunity this afternoon. Thank you, mongoose. You guys were lovely. What a great experience. I wish you could all do that with me. I tell you right now. Then we could all sit quietly. If I had all of you, instead of watching in the camera, then if you're just sitting with me, I promise I can sit quietly. But then I need to talk a lot afterwards to get it all out. But it has been a really, really great morning. It started off very, very cold. It's ended off being a beautiful, feels like a warm summer's day. I'm going to take my scarf off, my jersey off. I'm actually quite glad that I have got shorts on. Ali must be quite toasty now. But what a wonderful day. Another fantastic morning out on safari, and I hope that you enjoyed the girl power again, or were you got the rugged looking James? Were you just floating around in a balloon? But we'll see you again for this afternoon safari. I hope you have a good sleep or enjoy breakfast. We'll see you later.